Meeting come to order. Ask you to please stand, salute the flag, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Steve, would you lead us in the invocation?
Father, we just come to you tonight and ask that you get our minds right to bless this association and make the right decisions. And we just ask for you get everyone home safe tonight and be with those that couldn't be with us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. As the board had a chance to look over minutes from 2 months ago. So I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Lauren made a motion, second.
Second.
Corey. Lauren and Corey.
Yes.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Have we had a chance to look over the bills as paid over the past month? Any questions or anything on that? I should have done that with the minutes, but anyway, I didn't. If not, I'll take a motion to approve those bills.
I make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Got 2 seconds on that end. Take your pick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mike, you got a financial report?
Okay, you've got a copy of the actual to budget. Keep in mind the budget is for the full year, so you're looking at actual through September compared to a full year budget when you're looking at those. We're doing pretty good. If you can look down the line, snack bar, we're pretty close on that as far as about 35,000 loss, and we budgeted 37. Probably going to go over a little bit on that one. Tank pumping, we're doing real well. We're almost $20,000, and we budgeted 10,000. So doing well on that. We're doing well on the golf course. We budgeted to lose about 38,000. We're at 9,700 right now, so that's good. I wanted to point out to you the lot sales on page 2 at the top. We budgeted 32,000 and we have $68,750 in lot sales. So
Yeah.
congratulations. I think Steve, applause for Steve on that. Okay. In the administrative, we budgeted 224, we're 165, doing pretty good there. Security, we budgeted 35, we're at 23, doing pretty good there. The bathhouses, not very much. Wanted to point out to you in the pool area, we had budgeted $21,000 a year for 5 years. That's when we thought we were going to borrow the money. We're not borrowing the money, so we're taking that as a miscellaneous expense down in the miscellaneous section at the bottom of page 3. So you'll see that we didn't budget anything in the miscellaneous expense, but we got $23,000 there. That's the $21,000 plus some additional miscellaneous expense we have in there.
Is that just for people paying for day passes and bingo passes?
No. That's up in the pool area.
Okay.
You see the income.
Yeah.
We had $4,800 worth of $4,885 in income. We budgeted 8,000, so we didn't quite make that. But what I'm talking about is the 5-year payout for pool. Was $105,000, and we didn't have to borrow any money for that, so we're just expensing that on a yearly basis. And so at the bottom line is our net income is $108,000 for the year so far, and we've budgeted $20,000. So we're in pretty good shape as far as the actual income to budget.
Any questions? Very good. Steve?
You all ready?
Roll.
I don't have too much. We still got a big problem with dogs. Some people are helping us out and trying to take care of that problem. I encourage everybody to do the same. And the speeders. We got tons of speeders still at both lakes. You guys have got a copy of a code violation letter that I've made up. We're gonna get started on that, sending those out. It's just basically a form letter. It just has the person's name, the lake they're from, the plat and the lot. It says, I am sending this notice to inform you that you have been found in violation of one or more of the governing documents. You can list the violation. It says, please read the attached fine schedule process. As of the date of this letter, you have 21 days to choose one of the 3 options. And then it's got a place for the signature of the officer, whoever's signing it, and the date. And the 3 options are, you can correct the alleged violation, you can contact the board and negotiate a timeline for correction, or request a hearing in front of the board. That's just a kind of generic form that I've filled out. You guys don't really even need to approve it, I guess, unless you've got a problem with it, but that's what I figured we'll use for our fine schedule.
So this is gonna be handed out by,
This will be sent certified letter.
oh, that's what the plan.
Yes,
Cool.
yes. And, just gonna let you know, I finally, the hood install people for our kitchen at Sugar Valley, we've been working on that forever. With COVID, it's put everything behind. They finally we got the wall in to where they can put the hood in, that portion. The hood installed by J.C. Love will be on, they're planning on coming November 8th. And as soon as they do that, Keller will come in, put the suppression system in. Then the volunteers will come back in and finish the walls out, and the electrician will come in and do the electricity. So hopefully, it's way later than I wanted it, but we're gonna get that kitchen done. That's all I got.
Okay, old business. We've got a couple items here. First one is Lake and Weeds. We've got a lot of things to discuss between old business, new business, executive session, so I ask everybody to keep their comments short and to the point. What we got on Lake and Weeds?
Well, you want me to put that on there this time and shit?
Yeah, we need to,
Did you have somebody from over here, you said that,
well, Earl was working on all that,
right?
and just curious whether we're getting anything done, and where we're at on it.
As of this moment, I got several emails out, I have not gotten any response back. I copied you on some of them, Steve, and I'm gonna resend the emails for them and do. So,
We don't have any kind of quotes yet or anything, which is too late this season to do anything anyway, right?
It's a spring.
So we have to do it in the spring.
Do you want to spray in March, probably?
We
Won't we?
sure need to get that on the burner. I mean, don't put it on the back, but we need to have it up front, get that, 'cause I think we're having it.
One of the things I'm looking at is a company that will come down there and manage this. They're out in Indiana, and I sent them an email, I talked to people out there, but I have not got a response. So I'm going to see if I can come up with a phone number and give them a phone call and see what's going on.
Do we have anything going on that would require the state to step in and help out with some, I mean, you know, noxious weeds and stuff like that, they kind of take care of part of the expensive part of that. Is there anything we've got in here that would require the state to get involved some, that might help us save some money? We don't have any mussels or anything like that going on, right?
I hope not.
I know,
That's a bad deal.
I was just trying to figure out a way to get, it's an
Help.
expensive adventure.
Yeah, it will be expensive. Okay. We've kicked this ball down the road several times, coming up on October 31st, and it's been brought to light again. And some members have been working on it, along with architectural committee, manager, different board members. Campers on building lots after October 31st. As you know, our rules and covenants state
campers are not allowed on building lots after October 31st. There's a lot of people do not abide by that. You know, they've more or less built their campers into their lot. There's a lot of people that do follow those rules. But anyway, this board is going to try to address it, so whoever wants to take the lead on this deal, rock and roll.
I'd like to say, when I moved down here, we moved down here in the place we're in now 11 years ago, there were 2 RV campers in our area, now there's 15. And in that 11 years, I've not seen anybody move their RV off the property. And they're all building lots. And everybody that is a member here had the opportunity, when they got their welcome letter, to understand that the rules and regulations were on the website, and they could ask for a copy of it too. And it clearly states that they cannot be on, they can't have a permanent residence there, and you cannot have a RV on a building lot during that period of time that they mentioned. So I'm particularly very interested in this, and I would challenge that many people don't take it off. In fact, I'd like to see somebody that has taken it off, because I'm not sure there are any, but if anybody's taken it off. Okay,
Greg does.
There's one.
I know he does.
Okay, I guess my issue is, where do we get the dates from the April to October 31st? Because as far as the covenants go, the covenant, that's not anywhere in our covenants and restrictions. That is a permit that was approved by a previous board to accept notes. If you read the covenants and restrictions, there's nothing in our covenants and restrictions that specify the dates of April through October.
But there is a rule that's been adopted by the board.
There's a rule that's adopted by the board
Okay.
at some point, which is our temporary summer camping permit that we have currently.
Which
that we go by.
90% of the people probably don't ever apply for a temporary
Don't
summer
even-
camping
yeah.
permit either.
You know, I put a proposal in.
Just a minute, we're going to have board discussion, then I will ask for open forum on those subjects.
In the past, when subjects have come up, we've been able to speak. That's why I'm.
Right now, I want you to hear what the board has to say, and then I'm going to open it up for individuals.
One of the problems I've got with the thing is, I really think there needs to be some kind of structure done on this, because we got a lot of them that haven't been moved in and out. Things have changed since 1970, that these bylaws and covenants have been written to where you got 4-season campers and stuff now. And my personal opinion is, I don't like the fact that we're gonna charge people, the good people and stuff that are for these campers or stuff, but I think there ought to be a permit. They have to file for a permit, and it goes in front of their architectural committee and let them decide whether that camper should be there or the camper goes. Just my personal thought.
I'm gonna echo the same thing. I don't care what you do on your property. If you keep it clean, presentable, pride of ownership. If you're not an eyesore, who am I to tell you what to do? That's kind of my 2 cents on those things.
And I think the purpose of this originally was to try to get a lot of these junk campers out of here and clean up the place, and that's the focus I would rather see is, instead of finding the people or charging the people monies out of their pocket when they own the property anyway. I don't know how we do it. Maybe we work it through the fine structure, that we find what we ask you to move your camper off. Is that part of what we have in our fine structure?
I think the problem you're gonna present itself is the people who care, which I know several of you guys here have campers, you guys keep your stuff clean, so you're not in fear of your shit getting taken care of. But the people that have the dilapidated ones, they don't care, they don't come to meetings, they don't do anything. They don't answer the mail, they don't come to meetings, they don't do anything. So I think we're just gonna be a dog chasing our tails, even if we try to make these guys sign a permit, or what's the worst thing we can do to them if they don't do this stuff? I mean, legally, we can tow them and stuff like that, but based off of what Burton said like that, we're just opening up a can of worms if we start stepping on people's properties, taking their trailers off, so.
We could foreclose. on the property.
If they're current on dues and
For-
everything,
Well, if you fine them and they don't pay their fines,
But then we're still doing that without having, if it's a dilapidated camper and it's on a lot, then you're in violation of other things besides the camper being parked on a lot.
yep, no, I agree.
Tim, Architectural Committee, I'd love to hear what you have to think about this.
This is an old issue, been around a long time.
Can I ask Tim to actually come up?
Pardon me?
Can I ask Tim to actually come up?
Could you come up front so that you can be heard by everybody in the world?
You're all happy to see you.
You can either sit or just talk, it's fine.
I doubt that it's everybody in the world.
World Wide Web.
But that,
World Wide Web.
World Wide Web, we can get reviewed. So first of all, my name's Tim O'Neill. If you want my phone number to kick me around, you are welcome to it. I do live over in Sugar Valley. I agree with Mike, you know, I've been down here nearly 15 years, I think. And when I moved down here, there were very few campers in and around the lake where I'm at. And now there's 6 or 8, and honestly, they all keep them really nice. I mean, they do. But they are there year round. This topic has come up any number of times. Thank you. You're one of the people that raised it, I know. And so as we've looked at it, and again, we're a committee, there's 5 of us, one of which has a camper over on 9 acre, that serves at the pleasure of the board. So we have like 0 actual authority to change anything or do anything. We have to abide by as best we can what's in the covenants and the bylaws. So our job is to look at that and then look at applications that come in and go, is it, you know, is it the right distance from the lot line? Is it that kind of stuff, right? Are we using the material from the outside? As it relates to what's asked by the board, to look at this area and make a recommendation, which we have done. And we gave that to the board here 2-3 weeks ago. That recommendation would say, with a few edits, I'll say, to the current camping permit, I mean, not really changing it, but a few edits to that, and consider whether or not there should be a fee. Get people to actually file for, ask for a camping permit. So we just know where the campers are. And for those people, like yourself, who moves it on and off every year, it's probably irrelevant, but it's gonna ask you that, hey, I really own it. No, I'm not using it for permanent residence. It's gonna say, by the way, I agree to abide by the rules. I mean, nothing earth shattering. So that's the camping. And again, the individual on our team who has a camper here suggested some fees. She suggested $50. Don't care. That's the board's decision. Our team will be good with whatever is decided. But that was suggested. And then, so that's it's basically business as usual, maybe or maybe not a fee for it. I don't think it's a big deal if there isn't a fee. And then secondly, right now it says thou shall, you know, our rules, it's not the covenants and restrictions necessarily, but our camping rules say thou shalt have that off, right, by October 31st. And you can bring it back in the spring. Those 5 months, supposed to leave it. And you're supposed to clean it up, and you're supposed to not leave trash and so on. That's all in the permit. What we have proposed to the board, we, the architectural committee, is that we have another permit. And this would essentially be a winter storage permit, which you can apply for, and if your place is neat and clean, you know, no reason you can't have it. What we have suggested, primarily because our covenants and restrictions really say you don't have a camper there at all, except for temporary camping, is that there probably ought to be a charge for that, because taking it off is junk out. If it's got broken windows, if there's a crack around, then the board, the architectural committee, Steve, whoever's in charge of those winter storage permits, will give you one. It's really that simple. You take care of it, here's your permit. If you're not taking care of it, then we really do want to do it. And when I say we, it's not a committee. I think we, as a group of owners, we want that committee taken care of. And that will be the mechanism each year to make the decision. You know, in order to get a winter storage permit, you need a current camping permit. And then you need to have, essentially have them ready for winter. The questions? Save you.
Any other board members got any comments?
I'd like to make one more comment.
Okay.
Before we get too far along in this, I would like to recommend that we do not make a motion tonight. We discuss it, hear what these people have to say, table it, and then take it to Sugar Valley next month so they can hear the same thing over there that we're hearing over here and discussing, and then vote what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think we do any knee-jerk decisions. I wouldn't even be opposed to saying, hey, starting October of next year, because it's gonna be hard to come out to people and say, you have 9 days to rip this off. And say, hey, October of next year, this is the plan. Do what you've been doing, you know, but just so you know, this is coming down the
This is
pipe.
coming down the pipe.
Right, and I'm in complete agreement with you, Corey, for the winter permit. But I think reality is we need to start
Summer.
next spring with our.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was talking about
Yes.
this.
So we have that in place.
They have to have the summer one before they can get the winter.
Yep.
Okay. With that, I will open it up for anybody.
Keep your 3 minutes.
Go
okay?
right ahead. You have,
Can I take this 3 minutes too?
no. State your name, please. Tell us where you're from. Looks like.
I'm from Sugar Valley Lake,
Mhm.
and I'm Sandy Sands, or Sandy Sands, whatever you want. Sandy Sands on the beachy beach, so. Anyway, question, you're saying that that you would charge for campers during the winter and would you charge them during the summer, too? Is that what you're saying, or not?
What our committee recommended to the board is a $50 camping permit
For the whole.
For the season.
For the season,
for the season.
okay.
I think that.
Hundreds, yep.
100 for the winter.
100 for the summer,
For the summer, 250.
250 for winter.
Well, why would you charge for the summer? First of all, why would you, I'm saying, you know, in the covenants, it definitely, I mean, even in the extra rules, it says you can keep them on year round. I mean, not during the summer. There should never be a fee for the
And
summer.
just to shortcut that, that was a committee recommendation. I heard from more than one board member that they don't think we should do that.
Okay, now my other question is, what about people that have houses and have campers sitting next to their houses? You're gonna have to charge them too, right?
That's right.
If you have a house and you.
That you're living in?
If you're living in and you have a camper on your lot, then they're gonna have to pay you too then, right? I mean, if you're gonna make it fair.
I thought of all this the last 2
If you're
weeks,
gonna
and
make
I
it
told
fair for everybody
Karen.
else, you're gonna have to do that too. Okay, because they can let somebody live in their camper
Well,
and stay in their camper, right? I'm just saying that.
the intent is no permanent use. That is clear.
Well, there's no permanent use of any campers that are anywhere, if nobody.
But we
should
don't
live
want
in
to
a
go
camper.
down that road that we
Yeah, I think
open
we're
that up.
talking about the one-offs, what if, yeah, going this way. I mean, I think we focus on the broad, and then, you know, we look at the macro, then we can focus on the micro and the macro.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to say for everybody, because you're talking about people that have houses, that have campers next to them, that somebody comes and stays there sometimes in their camper. Then if you're gonna make it across the board a fee for.
Good point.
For anybody.
Good
for
point.
storage, then you're gonna have to make it for even for the people that have houses and have campers on them, which puts that in the perspective of maybe those people will not appreciate the fact that they're gonna have to pay that fee too. So I'm saying that if you're gonna do it, you're gonna have to say to everybody, you're gonna have to pay a fee. Are you okay with that?
So, to simplify the whole thing, this is what I said earlier. I'm not for the fees, but I am for getting a permit and letting the architecture committee decide whether that's okay to be sitting there or not to be sitting there.
And I agree, that is
That's
a.
bottom
great
line,
idea.
that's it, dead. We don't need
30
to argue.
seconds.
I think that's a great idea, to have a permit, because then you can, if every year they have to get a permit, then if their trailer is terrible. then-
Or their lot.
Or their lot is terrible, you can say you will not get a permit, and we will then start fining you for.
Then it goes back to our fines
System.
system,
Right.
yes.
And then the same thing having to do with houses that are not in good shape. Their properties are not in good shape. Then you're starting to get the, the fines for them. We don't live in we don't have a trailer anymore, we live in our daughter does, have a trailer. But we have a house down on the lake. And I'm just more concerned about the people that, I look at this as being.
But,
We live in Johnson-
but
let me
I will
say-
state this,
Well, let me finish my statement.
okay?
In Johnson County, everybody's got these associations and everything has to be just this and that. You can't even hang your clothes outside like I used to do when I lived in Pennsylvania. It was like, everything is just so perfect. We came down here thinking that this was different than Johnson County. When we came down here 10 years ago, we put, I think I shared this with, and maybe all of you don't do this, we had a trailer, we put it on the lot and had a storage lot. And we had it for like 2 years in the storage lot. It got stolen off of there. And we had to replace our trailer, and we told Ron, we said, Ron, we cannot afford to replace the trailer again. It costs us $2,000 deductible to do that. Now, he didn't say, you can keep your trailer on all year long, but we said to him, Ron, we're gonna keep our trailer on there year long, because we really can't afford it.
You're out of time.
And he didn't say no, so I'm just saying,
Greg.
that's our story.
So to me, the way it's been perfect. And I've tried to abide by it, get a permit every year, get a sticker on my camper. Now I've got to get it over with the whole deal. I think the no fee, I think fee, to me is ridiculous. To respect the building lots and people that have homes and make that investment, for me and my mentality all along has been, get the rules in mind, get it all, that way you don't accumulate some crap around it. Get it off there, people invest in homes, they're there to stay, the campers got to go every winter. And we have, I assume we still do, we've always had a camper storage area. They want to store it through the winter or whatever, take it over to that lot. We got all this stuff in place, we just need to enforce the rules as they stand now. We don't need to make a bunch of new ones, or a bunch of new fees. I think it's worthwhile. I think just enforcement's an issue, but leave there year round. That's, to me, that's the problem. The only problem.
Name and where you're from?
I'm sorry.
Name and where you're from?
My name is Linda Burrow. I'm Hidden Valley. Here's my big concern about this whole trailer thing. Ours actually sits across from our home. We don't use it anymore. It's a good camper. We're in the process of selling it. So it isn't gonna matter to me one way or the other. If you decide to have a winter storage thing, I'm not gonna have it on this stuff. Here's my big concern, and I know that you're gonna think, that might really gone off the rails. I don't understand why every year we go after this trailer thing when we've got lots and lots of rules and the governance and restrictions that nobody ever makes an effort to do anything about. We live on Hidden Valley Road. We watch vehicles go back up and down on the road all day long, trailers, UTVs, you name it. Most of the UTVs that I see go by have no stickers on them. They're doing in excess of 20, anyway, doing in excess of 20 miles an hour. There are 2 kids that have little tiny motorbikes. You know those are not insured. They certainly don't have a sticker on them. That's not in the rule. That's against the covenants and restrictions. We have a junk trailer down here, a guy that's been allowed to, get junk forever and ever. And yet nobody does anything about that. But you're worried about my, 10-year-old camper that's sitting across the street from my house that we couldn't use if we wanted to because we don't have the water to it and we don't have a whole tank. So we're going to be selling it. I don't understand why we decide to go after campers every year and ignore page after page after page of other covenants and restrictions that I find are just as important. We have places that are being built that don't have holding tanks. Your architectural committee, why are we letting that happen? We have places around here where people have taken pallets to build buildings with. That's not new materials. That's in the covenants and restrictions. When are we going to expand our interest past people having trailers on their lots? Is it really bothering anybody? Can somebody answer that?
It has bothered some people, or it wouldn't be brought to the forefront every
Okay,
year.
I'm going to point one other thing out. We have a brand new next door neighbor. The lot that was there has been there a long time. Those 2 lots, he finally agreed to sell to our new neighbor, who came in this last spring and put a nice trailer on that lot. He was assured that it would be okay to leave it there all winter. He brought
He was
in-
assured by who?
By who?
I'm not going to mention any names, but he is on the board, okay? So you might want to talk about each other. His name is Rich. He is next door to us. And somebody told him that it was going to be okay for him to leave that camper there all winter. He went out and bought a big dock, and he's installed it right behind his property. He goes down every weekend and works on that lot, and he stays in that camper. And he has told us that he hopes he can continue to come down all winter and work on his lot.
But if he's got if he's got a brand new dock, brand new camper, I'm sure $200 isn't really gonna move the needle.
You know what, but you're not talking about $200, you're talking about $250 for the winter and another however much you decided for summer. We are not the only ones that feel this way. I don't know how many of you got on Facebook and looked at some of the comments, but they were not kind, and most people don't want this. And all I'm saying is, in fairness to people who want to continue to come down all winter, I mentioned to somebody, everybody on the board and all the people around here say, come to our board meetings. Come to our board meetings in the middle of the winter. Come on down here. I can't go over to Sugar Valley because we will not drive at night. So now you're going to discuss this whole thing again next week and make a decision. But I can't go over there. And I know a lot of people who live up in Kansas City or down south in Pittsburgh who have places on these lots. And they can't come down and stay over if you force them to take their campers and move them in. And my other big question is, we don't have anywhere to take that camper if we decide to keep it. We don't, we just don't. We could spend a fortune and store it somewhere. I wouldn't want to store it in Sugar Valley. I mean, I heard those horror stories. So I'm just a little concerned that we're making life difficult for people who might enjoy camping in the wintertime. I know a lot of people do.
But can we all agree that they're not supposed to be there over the winter based off the covenants and restrictions?
That's
I
what
don't,
I'm-
I will not agree with that.
No, don't agree with it.
I will agree that they're not supposed to be there based on our current temporary camping permit, but not in our covenants and restrictions.
So based off the most current,
Yeah.
What?
That's right.
What?
In the covenants and restrictions.
Okay. It is in the covenants.
And for which?
No.
It's not. It's
Bottom
It's
paragraph,
not
it
in
says.
covenants. Number F is not in covenants.
No.
Okay, next.
That,
Right.
Yes, sir. State your name, where you're from, please.
Guys, this was debated by
state this again now. What was debated?
Huh?
What was debated, please?
On campers.
Okay,
And they, back then, the board said we had to store campers on storage lots here.
okay.
We don't have a storage lot here to store them. Where do you want to put them? On the gravel pile that's on somebody else's lot? Am I right, Steve? Where are you gonna put them? That's for starters. For two, it went to court, Bourbon County, Dave Mullins. All right, I can tell you exactly when it went to court. And it was shot down. All right, so you're wanting to start this all over again? And $250 fine, $350, $500 for the year. Oh, I just took her whole month's social security. You wanna do that? Honest to God? My camper rolls out of here 8-10 times a year. Earl's seen it. How many times you see me drive my camper by, Earl?
I'm gonna stay out of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I run my camper, ask Lauren. My camper runs year round. I take it out, we have Thanksgiving in the wild. We go out camping somewhere. Lauren knows me. I'm not pulling no bones. We had the second house on this lake, the second house. All right, been here since '74, they still have dozers down at the bottom of the lake. All right, probably one of the oldest people here. That's had the lot the longest. And I've seen a lot. In my paperwork, it's got a crimped seal from when we bought before the lake ever started filling. Got a notarized crimped seal with everybody's signature on it. Says I have a right to all identity as long as my dues are paid. Look your records over, they've been paid for almost 50 years, 48, half a century. Okay? Try to follow the rules. You can't follow them because the rules are this one today and that one tomorrow and that one tomorrow. And it's all about that main thing. It's all about the money you have. I agree with Lauren. You can't charge for this kind of stuff.
Do you have a problem with the permit?
What I have a problem with permit is the road that it leads to hell. We got a permit, so tomorrow's board or next year's board says, oh, well, let's put a $20 fee on that permit. Or let's put a $200 fee on that.
I'm just asking, sir.
Huh?
I'm just asking.
Am I right? Think of the four-wheelers. I had a four-wheeler, right up until they told us we had to buy a sticker on it and buy insurance for it and all that. I don't have a four-wheeler. Because in my paperwork that's bonded, it says I have a right to all of it. It doesn't say I have a right to it if I buy this permit, this permit, this permit, this permit, this permit, this permit, this permit.
But can you also agree the times have changed a lot since 1974 that?
But my contract's still a binding contract. Is it not?
Do laws change though that get passed 50 years?
But I still got a bond.
Do they amend it to come with current times? I'm just saying like, if the things change.
Now, I got 2,000 square foot home.
Steve, I'm gonna actually hand this back to you,
All right.
and I would like you to point out to me where the dates are.
That's why I moved.
Yes.
Julie, when I bought it here first time, there was a welcome that didn't exist, they didn't say.
You see a little, I
Keep-
Actually,
keep-
sorry, she can go up there.
Can you come up?
Sorry,
You can come up,
Sorry,
yeah.
Okay, when I first bought it, and I own 5 of them, so the very first one I bought, there was no welcome letter, there was none of that.
Did you buy from the association?
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
I
Okay.
mean, you know.
Hey, guys.
They didn't, you know, I went in and talked to them. I work in title. I know about all the bylaws. I already knew them. I had friends who lived here. I've always followed them. I have a lot of load dam to keep my camper on. I have lots of bug dam. I winter camp. I camp year round. I don't see a problem why they shouldn't be allowed up above, as long as they're kept. I mean, if it's a trash trailer, that's, you know, a whole different thing, just as, you know, a house that's trash, all of those need to be dealt with. So, I never had to fill out a camping permit, that wasn't required. The only thing required was for me to show them the title, that it was tagged, and that I had insurance on it. I gladly did it, it's on their record in the fill out a bunch of weird information and when I'm gonna camp and all, that seems crazy too. I mean, I don't have a problem showing you the title for the camper. I don't have a problem showing you my insurance on the camper, which all should have. Your restrictions, you need to look at the restrictions filed in public record. Things have been changed, manipulated, and other things added by different boards and all that, but you want to change them, you have to refile or amend your restrictions or your bylaws. It can be done. It's gonna be hard, but it can be done. Then you can change all this stuff the way everybody wants, because everybody gets to say something about it. That's all I have.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Candace Sweets, Sugar Valley, been there about 3-4 years. One, when I did sign up, not one person said, oh, welcome. Hey, while you're here paying your stuff, you want to fill out a permit or anything like that. Not one person said anything to me about it. If somebody has a camper that's completely trashed or a house or something, then you guys should be going after that, okay? It's not just, let's make a decision and put it off, because you want to go after these campers. It's been 3 years since, a constant thing. And you guys, as the board, per the bylaws, have options to change the covenants. Those covenants are outdated. Your bylaws are outdated since the 70s. There has been, and I've brought this up at yearly meetings, there has been recent Kansas changes about specifically boards making bullshit, and I speak my language, outrageous amounts to charge people. And a couple of years ago, there was a big thing online, we're gonna charge $1,000 a day and all that stuff. Has anybody looked at your bylaws, look at how outdated they are? Have you contacted an attorney and say, can we actually do this? You look at what's filed at the county, and you look at pieces of paper, what is and what you guys have on your site, but if you look at the original papers that are still floating around, it looks like somebody made up those rules in a different type and just shoved them in there and said, let's just see what people do. So you guys really need to go through your bylaws. You really need to get an attorney, which I understand once has contacted us. You need to go through those bylaws and covenants. They need to be updated before you have any legal stance to do anything for one. But as the board, you guys have the right to change these outlandish, outdated rules. So these rules don't even apply to us anymore. I've been told that there was actually a horse stall that should have been here. And that went by the way when that was voted. Because I specifically, we bought it specifically for the horse, and everything else. And then they just went away with it. So I think you guys really need to contact the attorney and find out what you can do. The bylaws and covenants need to be done, especially in 15 and 17. I did this with my home, we're working on them. We have both stamps because there are Kansas laws that you guys need to have in here. You guys really need to protect yourselves. Because I know there's a lot of people who will probably turn in suit regarding this. I use my camper year round. I am down here at least once, twice a month in the winter to use my camper. So you're gonna tell me that I have to move it from somewhere. The Swords Lot one is not, just, you can't even get into it now, it's completely overgrown this year. Two, many people get their stuff pilfered up there. You go through there, and every time you turn around, there's a door open or something, because somebody restricts something else. People have had theirs stolen. Nobody knew about it. So, again, you guys need some type of a control if you're gonna provide a storage lot, or where can we do it, because somewhere says it's storage lot, but what can we do? And down here, I'm like, there isn't one. If you camp all year long, and you're using it, that is temporary use. So that is by your guys' rules, temporary use. So you're telling me I can't bring my camper down in the wintertime for temporary use even?
So what, and I'm not playing that way, so what's your solution? We want to get rid of the dilapidated ones, we want to get rid of the bad ones. We want to have some kind of system just to keep things like, so what is your solution knowing that those are those parameters?
One of the solutions is you have codes enforcement in Lincoln County. Codes enforcement would be the biggest part, the biggest legality to take care of a lot of this. The houses, the campers, the trash, the cars, the unsanitary conditions, the people who are permanently living in their homes. Go after those people first. Because there are a lot of people living in them full time that don't have septic tanks. Don't have no holding tanks at all. So code enforcement is your #1 priority. That right there with the county, and if you work with them, it will get rid of it. I was at Tanglewood, started the foreclosure processes on people who weren't paying dues. There are people who would be, I think, willing to be on this board and help, free time and money. That's what we've done at home. And it takes a lot of hours and it takes a lot of manpower. There are people out there that y'all don't have to worry about. And nobody needs to be paid. That's just what I'm saying. And I don't agree with charging anybody for over the thing. And where am I gonna store my camper at? That's my biggest thing.
Would you agree with the summer and winter camping permit?
If I get a permit, that's, when I was at Tanglewood, summer you didn't have to work a permit. But wintertime, you just call the office and you talk to them and you got it. So what happens is somebody stole your stuff or broke into it, or something major happened, they're like, we know you have a camper down here, something happened, just letting you know. And that's what it was, simple email, simple call.
The permit's approved based off the quality of living in that camper.
Correct, correct.
And I can tell you Tanglewood charges $0 for their winter storage.
Correct.
I
So,
know that.
I mean, you guys are the ones that can make these decisions, and you guys can make a choice to make this a better place. This whole camper thing is gonna destroy this place. Whether it's a lawsuit, whether it's just people are going to revolt about it. You guys are that difference. You guys need to get those bylaws, you need to get them rewritten, get them up to date. Those covenants, get them and look them right, get them filed properly. But you can't file them properly with the county until you get them updated. And there's an attorney, y'all need to contact an attorney.
This boils back down to the meeting quorum to change that.
Talk to
You
2 hours.
can't sit alone and you're just gonna eat yourself up, you can't rely on your money. I tried to say, oh, the quorum, we can do the rest. I think based off what we looked at last time, what's it gonna cost us, what's it, $8,000 to $10,000 to do all the mailers for quorum for the votes on stuff like that? Because don't quote me here, but if you don't get 66%, then you can reduce, you'll have to get 60%.
You have it, and then you
But
have
you
it.
have to mail,
in.
exactly. You gotta keep making a letter going out for all that type of stuff.
Correct, that's what I'm doing right now, my 189 houses that I'm doing, we're doing it, and you have it, and you have it, and have it. We're lucky that we're gonna go door to door, that's gonna sell a lot of us. But if you guys go and change rules, and you don't have good bylaws, and you don't have good covenants, and you don't have things filed, and then pieces of paper looks like somebody said, we're just gonna do this, insert it in and make it look right, in a different type, which is the funny part about it. You guys need to go back and get your rules in place before you can move forward. Because there's too many inconsistencies within it. You have definitions that aren't listed, you have things that aren't even in the definitions. So, we need to start, unfortunately, back at square one and take care of that first before we have any, you as a board, legal ground to stand on. That's, I'm just saying it. There are
Okay.
a lot of people, so that's fine.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
You want to come forward and tell us your name and where you're
Name
from?
and where you're from, please. Come on, Lauren, smile.
Regina Lance, Hidden Valley. My biggest thing is, we've implemented lots of things, but the enforcement piece is never there. So, we can, you know, you can put lots of things into play, or say we're gonna put lots of things into play, but it's a moot point if we can't enforce it and follow through. It's like, you know, most of you probably have kids. You can threaten them 1,000,000 times, I'm gonna whip you, but they're gonna go ahead and do it if you never whip them. So, you know, things aren't gonna change unless we can enforce things, and I don't think that we have the manpower or the money for the manpower to enforce a lot of the things that we're looking at. That's my only point. I'm done.
Can I ask a question?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Carol.
I've got the ultimate solution.
It's gonna be a damn thing for a year. Don't mow the damn golf course, don't fix no road, don't fix no golfers, don't buy the damn fix nothing. And then have a meeting and see what people wanna do.
Linda.
How much,
Save it for a year, always.
Linda.
how much difference does it make that Sugar Valley is in one county and Bourbon and we're in Bourbon County? Our rules, our county rules are different.
A lot.
That
We
makes a lot.
we found out,
Excuse me, can we have one conversation at a time, please? It's hard enough to hear one person, let alone multiple people.
we
Well,
found
yeah,
out
and I know
recently
Lake
that it's,
County has a lot of rules that we don't have here. The only rule that I know that the county does enforce is the holding pen. I mean,
And Bourbon County only enforces it if you call
Right.
I'm sorry, what?
them. Bourbon County only enforces it if you call them. You don't
Yeah.
even have to have a permit to bury one unless you call them to come and inspect it, and then they give you the permit at the
I do
inspection.
know that they come in here and check to see
If they're called to come in.
I don't know, I didn't call.
Yes,
but I
ma'am.
know I've seen it.
Yes,
And it
ma'am.
doesn't do a bit of good, because I'm gonna tell you, it's already been done.
Well,
Linda, the attorney I talked to today, I'm gonna discuss it with the board, and so everybody knows. I've talked to an attorney, I like what he's got to say. He did mention the fact that we're in different counties. He does, in 2011, they changed, as Candace said, they changed a bunch of HOA laws. We got to get compliant with our laws. They also changed them about every year since then in different areas. I'm gonna talk to the board about hiring this guy. We're gonna look at changing our bylaws, all that, whatever we have to vote on, our covenants, restrictions, and that stuff, to at least get compliant. But we're also gonna look at the Lynn County, Bourbon County situation, what the different things. I'm way ahead of a bunch of you people on what you said tonight, but I kept my voice quiet because I get to see Facebook, I get to see who's yelling at me, who's yelling at the board. I don't like it. I'm way ahead of most of you people. These things didn't get there overnight, and they're not gonna change overnight. I'm done. Sorry.
But see, that's what they pay you for, honestly, is to be there, so it,
I know.
I mean, act like you're irritated, but that's your job.
I agree.
I'm Becky from Sugar Valley. I just want to say I do agree with having a winter permit that's zero cost, because I feel like, everybody already pays for dues, as part of the entities. For example, my parents have an RV, they like to come down when they.
Excuse me just a minute. Can we have quiet, please?
One person
Stay
at a time.
recognized.
They like to come down when they can, and my parents have done an amazing job of cleaning up the property that they bought and everything else. It was right behind Iverson, and my dad is always out there, whether it's cold, wet, rainy, it doesn't matter, working on his lot. Yes, it's an RV, but they pick everything up and they make sure everything is put away and stored when they leave, every single time, whether it's winter or summer. Those kind of people I don't think should be, held accountable for fines or to have to pay something, because they do keep, take care of the properties. Not being biased a little bit because it's my parents, but I just know that that's just an example. Our neighbor next door, she's always out there working on something. I don't have a problem with that. She has a pretty nice camper. There's not a problem with it. I don't think that people should have to pay extra money. That's just my views.
Thank you. Anyone else? Again?
Yeah, that's one thing, just for thought, this board, the storage, we're all one association, so we do have camper storage available to everyone. If that's not your cup of tea, there are other options, they're not free, or probably a lot more. So we do, the storage thing gets taken care of, we have. I think if you do anything, then they camper there year round. You may not have to appreciate the value of a building lot to people that invest in a home, so stay down here year round. Go home, go to tiny home, or you can go a little cheaper, it's still gonna be expensive. But I think if you start leaving campers on building lots year round, you're just appreciating building lots to the people that are investing in homes.
The one note I want to make on the storage lot is there's the saying, you get what you pay for. And I think there's been enough people in here that have said they've had issues. We had a neighbor that was two lots up that had their camper broken into, parked in the storage lot. So while we offer a storage lot, one of the very first things on the piece of paper you sign at the association says the association will not be held liable for any damages, loss, theft, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Same as it's sitting on my property.
Same as it, except it's your liability, yes. That removes the association from any thought whatsoever because it's on yours. Our document that you signed for the storage lot says that as the first thing. So if I'm taking a camper and I'm gonna move it to a storage lot, that one that's free, that's provided by the association, the very first thing I get assigned is a document that says nobody's responsible for
But
that.
that's every storage unit. Every year I just pay to store my boat or anything like that.
But if you're taking your storage unit to a storage lot, it's gonna have a fence,
Yeah,
lights.
there's-
I mean, there are other avenues taken in place.
But they're still pushing off liability back to you.
They are, but somebody just can't walk in or drive it over the berm.
Okay, right here.
Can I say, first of all, the storage lot, being that it's so close to the road, everybody can see it, and that's a bad thing. If it was someplace else, people couldn't see those campers there, there would be less likely they'd be broken into one thing. We did have our trailer sold. But one comment I had about depreciation. Where is depreciation on these properties? At least this year, there is a property across from us that has a trailer right next to it that sold for $20,000 last year, the year before, went for $80,000, just a lot, this year. That's not depreciation. Nobody's houses are depreciating around here because trailers are next to them. The values are going up tremendously. I can't believe how expensive they are to buy a lot or to buy a house down here. There is no depreciation. And this is considered a vacation area, not, that's why I don't understand why they were making building lots, because this area is for getting away from the city, enjoying yourself, coming down here and enjoying the people that are down here. The people are very friendly, everybody waves. You know, you want to get away from that Johnson County mentality when you come down here. You don't want to be where everybody is looking to see what you're doing. That is what we thought when we came down here, because we came from Pennsylvania, we never had associations like they have out here. We were shocked at the associations. And then when we came down here, we thought, this is great, this is wonderful, we can enjoy it. We don't have everybody telling us what to do. There's guidelines, yes, but nobody gave us a welcome letter either. Nobody gave us, we had to finally go and get ourselves one of the
Rules of travel.
I think you're gonna see a lot of this thing settle down once we start enforcing the fines and stuff we've got in place that we're working on right now, and start getting some of the old campers out. There ain't nobody bothering you about your camper. Nobody said a word to you about it. If it's nice and it looks good, I still think the reason for the permit is to know that it is there, that we need to walk by or drive by and check on it, we can. You know, that's all it's about.
I agree with the permit. I think that's.
Reed, you had your hand up.
I don't believe it's the association's responsibility to make sure that there's a safe, secure place for people to store parties. That's your responsibility. If the association provides a lot and you don't want to use it, don't use it. But it's your responsibility. It is not the association's responsibility to make sure that you've got some place to store your RV.
True.
Except for they did tell us it was a safe place to park.
Well, that's the
No, we
You decide that.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, when we came down here, and they told us we had to move our trailer, we said, oh, well, is that a safe place to park? And they said, oh, yeah, we never had any trouble. Then we found out there was a trailer previously to ours that was stolen off there. So I'm just saying, yes, that was my responsibility.
We need to move along.
They never should have said that.
Yes, sir.
The root of the problem all starts with the lots not being intended to do anyway. All grown up, haven't been mowed in 40 or 50 years. Wouldn't that be a good place to start?
What we're planning on doing.
And if you've got your lots across the road and on the right and on the left and one behind you that's all grown up here in this little pod that you try to keep peace of, shouldn't the rest of them be cleaned up? Can't we make some kind of little thing that says you have to mow it at least once a year? And can it be just like my house in Jackson County, Missouri, or Grandview? I've got a house there. Can it be like that? Can it be, if you don't, we're gonna come and mow it and we're gonna apply it to your assessments, and if you don't pay that, then we're gonna take the property.
There you go.
Plain and simple. But wouldn't a good starting place just be cleaned up. These houses are falling down, this trailer's falling down. The trees over here are clear out hanging in the roads and the power line, they've been made another 50 years. That's where we are, honest to God.
Okay.
No, I'm right?
Yes, ma'am. Name and where you from?
Can you come forward, please?
Kim LaPorte from Hidden Valley. My late husband and I moved here 5 years ago, and I've loved every minute of it. And when he passed away, my kids said, "Are you staying?" And I said, "Absolutely." I said, "But you might have the guest room ready for January and February." All I wanted to say was, I feel like in the last year or so, I've seen a lot of things going forward, and that's why I decided to stay after Bill passed away. And I just would like to say, I'd like to see it continue to go forward, whatever it takes to do. I do live in a house year-round, but I have 5 or 6 campers around me. 3 of them leave faithfully every year. 2 of them stay. They all keep their lots clean, so, I don't care. I just like to see, like everybody says, just continue to keep things spruced up, figure out what we can do. And as I used to tell, I'm a retired teacher, and what I used to tell my student teachers is, pick your battles, and pick the ones that you can work on, and the ones that are enforceable. And some of them believed me, and some of them, started out with 25 rules, most of which didn't work, but the ones that stuck to 4 or 5 usually were the more successful ones. So that would be my only thing is, stick to the few that you think you can make it workable with all the new stuff that's going on. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Well, I want to say one thing. I don't have a problem with the campers because I don't own a camper. I just want my amenities back that I got when I came here in 1984. I don't want to pay for the damn pool. I won't pay to go swim in the damn pool. It pisses me off. And I don't like the bathhouse being locked up. And I want my second bathhouse back. Oh, and my name's Jolita Clark, and I'm a Sugar Valley. Thank you. I just got hot water at that house. Just saying, yes.
Is there any kind of a motion from the board at this time?
Table it.
If I hear no motion, then it will be dropped.
I'll make a motion, we table it till the next meeting.
Well, there's not a motion on the table, the table.
All right.
Okay. Executive session. Chairman requests 5-minute executive session of all board members. Or less. All in favor?
Aye.
Personnel. Meeting's back in order. Anybody want to say anything?
Take a motion for a second executive session.
Huh? For
Steve, the attorney.
Steve and the attorney.
I would like to talk to you all about, I'd like to take executive session for 10 minutes or less to talk to you about the new attorney I'm going
That's gotta be a motion.
Okay, I'd like.
Wait a minute, let's
Finish up our first one.
Yeah, we got fish.
Okay, good.
We don't have a second on that motion yet, right?
No.
Okay, let's go ahead and make your motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve an increase for Steve in his salary of 8%.
I'll second.
Have a second. Dave, any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
I did.
Dave? Tyler? All those in favor?
Aye.
Steve has
Okay, do we have a second to the executive session motion?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 10 minutes or less. We'll be back.
Go again? Oh, good.
Let's go. Call meeting back to order. We discussed about a new attorney.
I make a motion that we have Steve work with the attorney to build up a contract for the board to sign, and that specifically, two of the very important things are the covenants and the bylaws.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anything else for executive session? Anybody? Okay. Open forum. We've already beat this drum to death. You're limited to a minute or less. State your name, where you're from. Let's get it on, get it over with. Read.
Read Joe, Sugar Valley, now that you've got the form for the fine,
Vicky, November 1st?
You what?
November 1st.
When we have a conversation.
When will we start using the fine?
We need to have a conversation first, but yeah, that would be fine.
Okay.
Is there a list of what the fines are, or what? There was a list before, is it?
It's the same one, they're in.
Greg.
So I know the board discussed it at one time, we'll look into it, and I think the board was rejected some of the other restaurant. Talk about food costs on snack bar. I don't know if they know about a restaurant, but I've heard different numbers. I think our food costs are probably extremely high.
It's Brian Rice on that Sugar Valley. Is there a way that we can audit those food prices, like that he could come in and talk to Karen or somebody about that? Who does all the ordering?
Well, I don't know, but if you've eaten in there, our retail price is dirt cheap compared to any place else you eat. Pardon me?
Well, when that kitchen gets done though, I mean, they're cooking on a flat top.
Yeah.
When that kitchen gets done,
So you gotta kinda,
But
yeah,
for what they're doing, I mean, the food's great
yes. Oh,
and the cost is cheap.
We're waiting to raise the prices till we get the kitchen done. Because we do, especially over there, we have a lot of waiting. People have to wait a long time for the food sometimes. And I don't wanna push the price up on them when they're waiting. They'll leave us. But we look at our food orders, we look at new prices every week when we do the order. So I mean, we know they need to go up, but I don't wanna do it right here before we get this kitchen done.
You do it on a percentage basis?
Yeah, a certain percentage.
I mean, I know that we were up there last weekend, and we had a huge group with us, but we would get two people's food taken out, and we would finish ours, and we would be done a little bit before the next two people got to
Yeah.
ours. You know, and that was a little bit extreme, because, I mean, that just takes that long, I mean, they could drop more than one thing of fries, you know, not just, it's getting kind of different.
I have a really quick question for Steve. You mentioned earlier about the violations and how, you were kind of working on that. Were you, not a hotline, but how will you know about violations? Like, just something that when you're gonna create whatever, like when people, like people would send it to an email, like, okay, you know, how are you doing about violations besides, you know, having a group go around, but people can help say, hey, somebody's pooping in a bucket out there, like, reporting that, like,
Well,
did it happen?
no, those will be the first ones that get on the deal. If I get, it's gonna be Vicky, Earl's gonna help.
Like a hotline or something.
If I get emails on, I've seen a violation happen, those will be the first ones that go. That way we're not discriminatory.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we're just gonna start probably on one side of the lake and go and, you know, it's hard to tell how, there's so many right now. I'm hoping we get started and people are gonna start doing the cleanup. Hey, I don't want that.
Yeah.
They clean up, but any emails I get, I'll report to the person, and I'm gonna be doing some of it if I got time to send these out, but they're all gonna go out in certified mail. They'll all be on some kind of spreadsheet as to what the date was, who got, and what it is. And that way we know when the 21 days is up also as to, okay, it's time to fine them.
Maybe like a form online that you can like fill out, like, this is what I'm seeing going on, you know, to kind of.
I don't think
and use your resources, because you have the website. But, you know, like, if you're gonna have something like that, I mean, it would be a form, we would clearly say what it is, what you observed, you know,
Right.
if anybody has pictures, attach it or something. But it helps you guys move forward on something, because just like the one property who trashed all their stuff across the street, it was trying to get out with it and getting it and pictures and stuff. So,
Right.
just what is gonna be a resource for you, just again, a suggestion, even a form on your website saying, you know,
Right.
doing that. But just something, how people will know how to make it instead of just splitting, you know, you know, something.
Right.
Otherwise, you might get a 6-paragraph, something,
Yeah.
or something for dog running loose, you know, and then you got this whole paragraph, 6 paragraphs, that doesn't mean anything.
And you don't have time for all that anyway.
Right, and there people are filling it out for you. But
Okay.
just a
Point
suggestion,
taken.
suggestion as me and my board at home, us the board people, don't make the complaints. We have to get the complaints from the people, because then it becomes, somebody picking and choosing on somebody and favoritism. So as the board, that's something that you guys probably need to discuss, that you aren't making those feel like somebody's picking on somebody, you have to get complaints from the people. So this, just a suggestion, I mean, just thinking about it, but what's
Okay.
easier?
Point taken.
Anybody else? New business, assessments, what are you talking about?
Every year we go up, usually, for years we didn't, and that's why we're in the shape we're in now for low assessments, but, we do the previous year's CPI, we raise the assessments. This year currently, it depends on which way you look at it, the Social Security's saying it's 5.9%, it's what they're getting on their checks. I looked at it today, September last year through September this year. October won't come out until November 10th. We're gonna start billing in the next day or two for next year. So we gotta have something ahead of time. Right now, it's at like September through September, it's at 5.4% because of inflation and everything. That makes it $9.93.6. I talked to past board members and everything today even, and talked to them. I said, is there a problem going to just a flat out $10? And they said they don't believe so at all, because
I thought you couldn't rate it any more than the cost of living.
that's CPI. Yeah.
So which CPI do you want to go with?
Yeah, because there's, I mean, you can go off if we actually wait until, we're gonna be pushing the billing back, we can wait until November 10th, and find out October, and I guarantee you it's gonna be $10. Right now, it's $9.
I don't care either way, I mean, as long as
$9.94.
we're legal to do what we're doing now.
Right.
Have a problem. Well, everything's getting higher, no matter where you go. Talking about that horse deal a while ago, you might want to keep that in mind, if gas gets $5, we may be at horse.
Do we need a motion? Yeah,
Approve that?
we have to have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we increase the dues by $10 for 2022.
Second.
Corey? Any discussion? All those in favor?
My fear with this.
Pardon me?
I said, even though you all voted your second or whatever, even if that social security check goes up, that $9 they're gonna get a month, how much of that is gonna come out of their, insurance? No, well, they'll raise that, they raise,
Oh,
My fear is that we make this change and then we find out that the cost of living didn't go up as high as we thought it was going to.
So we're, I mean, I'm not trying to be a
I don't think we're gonna be in that predicament the way this freaking economy's going.
I would agree with that also.
I'm surprised it is that low, to be honest, at 5.4. I mean, you just have to double check your numbers before you send it out, but as long as it's enough to cover $10, I'd say the $10 is more than fair. You know, either that or you're gonna go $9.95.
$9.94.
We have a motion and a second.
Motion.
So are we going up to
Mark,
$10 or are we going $10?
Yeah, I got a question about this. How come, you guys keep raising?
Cost of living.
Everything's
Yeah,
costing more.
everything keeps raising. But
20 years. We're finally in the green because people are actually paying their dues on time. Like, if we start getting concessions, we're gonna go right back the other way. $200 a year is not enough to maintain these communities with the percentage of people that are paying. It's that simple.
And I think if we compare it with a lot of the other lakes, and things around, honestly, we're still pretty cheap. We're very cheap on our maintenance fees. We're asking to do a lot of stuff. You wanna, upgrade equipment, we've got that coming up. I mean, we did a little of it this year, that grows every time you turn around, and everything gets wore out.
I don't think she's saying that, only pay one due, for 3, 4 lots, maybe pay one due for your first lot and half for your second or third lot.
We're cannibalizing our
Some
budget.
kind of break.
We would be cannibalizing our budget.
But I just say that's what she suggested.
No, I'm not trying to say it can't happen.
I see what you're saying, I feel your pain, I've got multiple lots too.
I do too, yes. Believe me, I wish we just, if you do that, and the community goes down, your son's money.
I mean, then we get asked, okay, where do we give the break? Do you give it at 3 lots, at 5 lots, 10 lots? Because, we have people that own 20 lots versus the guy that owns 1 lot. And
Do you know how many lots are in Sugar Valley and how many lots are in Hidden Valley?
Like 4,000-ish total, right? 4,600 total?
There's about 73 lot, 3,000 over there.
3,000 and 1,500, 1,600.
Approximately 900 lots.
So there's 3,500-ish over there, Sugar Valley.
right.
So if we get all the
that's
trash cleaned up, I'm in Sugar Valley below the dam with all the Timmys and Tommies and and the dump yards. If we get rid of the shit and get it cleaned up, when people maybe we'll get some decent people to come in and buy it.
Well, we're working on
Oh, but
that.
that already paid the fucking bills?
I think that's being approved by Bill Gates, $80,000.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Committee reports. You already did yours.
No, I didn't.
You got no?
I got another.
Which one you got?
That was finance, this is audit.
Audit, I'm sorry. Yes,
I
we had an
promised
audit.
we had an audit.
We had an audit meeting, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You had an audit.
Remember, we changed from every 3 months to every 4 months. So this report is for May through August, audit report. We reviewed the bank statements for the operating account from Farmers and Merchants Bank for the above months, transaction detail for those months, profit and loss statements for those months, balance sheets for the same, profit and loss statement for the above, budget for that for the 2021, actual 2021 to actual 2020 comparison, and vendor balance detail of August 31st. All checks, deposits, miscellaneous items were reconciled between the bank statements and the transaction detail. All voids were matched to the bank statement. All outstanding invoices were matched to the vendor balance detail, except for one which is found to be correct. No discrepancies were found on the above. Now, the audit committee is making a recommendation. A review of the accounts receivable for tank pumps was done. The audit committee wanted to remind everyone that tank pumps are COD and are due the day of pumping. We do not bill for this service as the customer calls and schedules and is to pay. There are several ways to pay online through the website, over the phone with a credit card, or in person at either clubhouse with cash, check, credit card, or by giving a check to the driver. It is further recommended by the committee that all individuals currently having a balance must pay to date before they are pumped again. They pay or they don't get pumped. And after they are caught up, they must pay before they're pumped.
Is there a reason why they were pumped? Because I'm not.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I always thought the rule was you have to pay before you get pumped. I mean, why are we?
Pay the day of the pump.
I know.
You can pay before it's pumped, or you can pay that day. You go to the clubhouse, pay, you call in, whatever.
Why are we pumping and not getting paid? I mean, why? I mean, it sounds like that.
This is gonna stop.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. They've scheduled and either said they were gonna come to the clubhouse and pay, or they were gonna give a check to the driver. That didn't happen. So now they're behind and we send them a bill and they still don't pay it. And so it's time that they get shut off from getting pumped unless they're paid up and they pay ahead.
Do we need a motion for this?
No,
Okay, we're recommending that's gonna happen then.
Is that going to be put on the, and sent out in the newsletter, or is that going to be on the website so people know that?
that's office management.
Right.
They call it schedule, tell them.
They will tell them at the office, you're not
They
getting
call
pumped
you.
until you pay up.
When they call the pump, they're gonna pay or they don't get it.
Does the driver
Yeah.
know if he's supposed to?
He's got a list,
Yeah, he's got the list.
he's got a list.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Okay, rec committee, architectural committee, anybody got something they wanna say? Yes,
Just
architectural.
two quick things on the committees. One is I heard tonight, that, hey, there's houses going in without holding tanks, or there's fences being built with pallets, right? And so that would go on the, in my head, Steve, nothing. That would go along the same way as if somebody's doing something weird and report it. Because what we as an architectural committee is the plan with really no authority, right? We as an association, we have no authority to go inspect right now. We're trying to get that event shifted a little bit so we have a little authority to go double check again. But right now, history would say we don't have to have that authority. So if you see something, don't be afraid to raise your hand, not because you're being kooky to your neighbor, rather because you're protecting your neighborhood, okay? That would just be helpful. The other thing I would mention, is that we actually have had 14 new homes of some kind or other go in since the beginning of this year, and 28 holding tanks. So I think we're making a little progress in that area. So,
For the rec committee, for me, the 30th, to do that, I'll probably maybe put something out on Facebook, just kind of saying what people like, but, I think bingo seems to be a big thing up there, and some, some other things. So we're gonna work this weekend to meet and try to get something on.
You have an event coming up?
What?
You have an event coming up soon?
They are, I'm not gonna give you a report, but there's a hay ride.
Saturday.
Yeah.
This Saturday, right?
23rd.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, and we just, it's working with both places, I think, for the stuff, and I know, Bev is kind of, she's still in it, but she's not retired, but she's, letting some other people come in and help her out, because it's a lot to take in, and not all listen to it, like, I can't be down here every one of these weekends, so it takes a village.
Can I ask you a question? I know I'm probably behind the times, but we do no social media
Yeah.
at all, period.
Yeah.
Is this gonna be on the website too, or,
Yeah, and that was one of the things that was never a social media person, so I didn't do the Facebook and doing some of those things. One of the questions, when's the newsletter gonna be sent out?
Newsletter.
The yearly mailing that we do?
February,
Because
isn't
usually that's in there, and that's what I say.
It's middle of December, I
So
think.
we'll have something that goes out to everybody, that says kind of what our weekends are.
Can we do something posted under clubhouses?
Yeah, we'll do some more stuff, because I know with Facebook and doing some more stuff, we got a little bit more interest, but it was a little.
cause I get the newsletter, when I get it.
Yeah, that's what keeps me alive.
At the year, I post my calendar for the whole year right there.
Oh, yeah, I just did.
I got it all right down there,
Yeah,
yes.
so I just know not to do anything that weekend or whatever.
Right.
So, yeah, it'll be that same way. I will talk to you about suggesting like a calendar online or something. So, it's kind of one of those things we're covering.
Yep.
So, yeah. But, yeah, we're meeting.
any other committee reports?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much.